Welcome to Mercer Moments in American History, a program dedicated both to current events that impact all of us, but also to major moments in American history that for some reason have been erased, deleted from our history books, from our classrooms. Well, I'm bringing those back. Today's session asks the question, is there a Chaplain's Medal of Honor for military chaplains? Did Congress create a Chaplain's Medal of Honor? I think you'll enjoy this session. My name is Ken Mercer. I'm known as the Minister of Education. Why? For 16 years as an elected official, both in the Texas House of Representatives and the Texas State Board of Education, I had a reputation of being a champion for moms and dads to see what's being taught in the classroom to your precious sons and daughters. I can begin every session with two quick asks. Please hit the like or subscribe button. We need to tell our sponsors that Mercer Moments in American History is making a difference. And secondly, I always give a shout out to one state, the state of South Carolina. I know in the podcast you can't see it, but on the YouTube channel you can see I'm wearing actually Clemson. But still, everyone in South Carolina, public, private school, actually high school, post-secondary, all those young men and women of great American values who love America, they need our encouragement. They need our strength. Again, today's session, well, let me begin with the multiple choice question. It says, which Army chaplain of World War II was awarded a special medal, a Chaplain's Medal of Honor, meant to be the equivalent of the Medal of Honor? Again, which World War II chaplain was given a Medal of Honor for chaplains, if you will, a special, not the Medal of Honor, but a Chaplain's Medal of Honor, meant to say it had the same weight as the Medal of Honor? Was it a Methodist minister, the Reverend George L. Fox? Was it a Jewish rabbi named Alexander Goode? Was it a Roman Catholic priest named John P. Washington? Or was it a Dutch Reformed church named Clark V. Poling? Or was it all four of those? Or is it none of the above? Is Mr. Mercer lying to you? Maybe that would be a violation of our constitutional separation of church and state to give a pastor's Medal of Honor. Well, I think you'll enjoy today the proverbial rest of the story. When I serve, we always look for examples. We try to find things that were encourage kids, great stories of patriots that kids should know about. And as always, I look to see stories that were used to be in our classes and were taken out, right? So to my surprise, at the State Board of Education meeting, I had my handouts and I had my petitions ready to talk about these four pastors. And before I made the motion, another member then raised her hand, and she made the motion to include the story of the four chaplains, what's known as the four immortal chaplains. Wow. Well, I guess God was working that day because the two great minds came across the exact same thing. So I thanked her for that and seconded that motion and got it in our standards. I hope it's still there. This is a story that if you're looking for a local school or a state standards of something special to include, you may want to consider. But let me tell you the story. These four chaplains met at Harvard Divinity School. Now, why Harvard? Well, in the military, they had chaplain school, and they would send you to Harvard, the divinity school there, and you were trained to be a military chaplain. Military chaplains began actually during the Revolutionary War. I have to give a shout out to the Barton family, the wall builders. What we call, I believe, is the Black Robe Regiment that the British would talk about. We go to battle, and there'd be these men on hills around the battlefield praying. Well, there were ministers that came. In fact, one of the first things our Continental Congress did was to pass a bill allowing for chaplains. They wanted military chaplains, not just for the officers, but also for all the enlisted men. They should be allowed to have service. It was a tradition we started back then, and we kept, even in World War II. Well, these four chaplains were to go from the United States across the icy cold waters of North Atlantic to Greenland. And they were put on a ship called the Dorchester. It used to be a luxury liner of 6,000 tons. I smile because now you go on a cruise ship and they're all 125,000 tons for like 2,000 people, 3,000 people. Well, the Dorchester was 6 tons for about 900 Army personnel. And the captain had called the men saying, look, we've already heard rumors of Nazi U-boats, submarines who are firing torpedoes and blowing up some of our transports, the Dorchester transport. So he asked them all to sleep fully clothed and sleep with a life jacket on. In case anything happens, you're warm and you can get out. But the reality was the boat was so small, again, 6,000 tons for 900 men. And it was so hot because the boiler is pumping up and down. Most of them slept in their underwear, their cities. And the life jackets then were not comfortable. They didn't wear the life jackets. Well, then it happened about 1 o'clock in the morning. A German U-boat saw them, sent 3 torpedoes, and it was bad. So many men were killed instantly on contact, but the other men obviously came out. The lights were knocked out. The radios, they could not radio for help. There was no power. It was dark. And these men were all running, calling for help. And that's when these 4 chaplains came. The 4 chaplains came and did something, pretty awesome. They were helping the men out, trying to calm them down. They were there praying with them, the ones who had been hit, been injured, trying to find lifeboats for them, but some folks threw out lifeboats and the boats got away in the cold water. Or some boats were gotten in the oil and caught on fire. So, again, trying to find lifeboats. And there's one eyewitness, a private William Bednar. He said, I'm floating in the oil with the oil and fire and the water, all the debris. And I could hear men crying and weeping and praying, pleading for help. And I could also hear these 4 chaplains, each one in their own language. I guess Latin, Roman Catholic, English, the Methodist priest, Dutch, the Dutch Reformed Methodist, and Hebrew, the Jewish rabbi. Each one talking and praying and trying to encourage the men. Another sailor, a petty officer, John Mahoney, said that I couldn't get into my cabin because it was so cold, didn't have gloves, and I was concerned about the cold Arctic air. And Rabbi Goode said, oh, I have 2 pair of gloves, and gave Mahoney his gloves. Others talked about how they couldn't find the life jackets, and the 4 chaplains found the life jacket room, opened it up, and started passing out life jackets. And finally, near the end, they remained saying there's no more life jackets, and one by one, the chaplains took off their life jacket and gave it to someone else. And the eyewitnesses are saying, not once did they ask you, are you Jewish? Are you Catholic? Are you Protestant? Whatever man was next, they gave him their life jacket. And here's the part that's going to grab your heart. They describe when we're out in the lifeboats, going out there, and the lifeboats were packed, and again, many of them had gotten away or burned up because of the fire. They looked in the Dorchester, which actually went down in about 20 minutes. That's all they had. It went underwater, and here are these 4 chaplains locked arm in arm. And it was then they realized that the Jewish rabbi did not have 2 pair of gloves. He only had 1. He gave you the 1 pair he had. And then each one of them did not have an extra life jacket. They gave you the life jacket they had. And one comment was, this is the greatest thing you'd ever see this side of heaven. They were locked arm in arm, and you could hear songs and prayers in English, Dutch, Latin, and Hebrew. Now imagine that, 1 o'clock in the morning in the ICC. It's an incredible story, incredible inspiration of what men do, for each other. In 1944, December, Congress actually gave them awarded their family a Purple Heart, a Distinguished Service Cross Award. In 1948, the United States Post Office issued a stamp, which I have in my collection, which is great. It's called the Immortal Chaplains, and it shows the face of all four chaplains and what happened. An incredible story. In fact, throughout the country, there are several places where they have memorials to the immortal chaplains. We're in Philadelphia, and we're going to visit the Four Chaplains Chapel there. And again, an awesome, inspirational story. I tell you all this, and let me conclude by telling you this, that in 1960-61, Congress voted that they wanted to give the Medal of Honor to these four chaplains, but because of the stringent rules of the Medal of Honor, well, they weren't in battle, they weren't carrying a gun, they weren't, even though they saved lives, didn't quite fit the criteria for a Medal of Honor. So Congress decided to create a one-time special award, if you will, a chaplain's Medal of Honor for these four immortal chaplains. Oh, gosh, what a wonderful story of patriotism, of love, of not just sacrifice, but also the incredible love for your fellow man. I hope you enjoyed today's program. In fact, let me just call it the Four Immortal Chaplains, and encourage you to go online and find if there's a memorial in your area to go see that and honor these four men. Is Lieutenant George L. Fox, a Methodist from Lewistown, Pennsylvania. Lieutenant John Washington, Roman Catholic from Newark, New Jersey. Lieutenant Alexander Goode, Jewish from Brooklyn, New York, a rabbi. And Lieutenant Clark Poling, Reformed Church in America for Columbus, Ohio. As always, my friends, I humbly ask you, if you enjoyed today's program, please hit the like or subscribe button. Let our sponsors know that this program is meaningful to you and that Mercer Moments in American History is making a difference. Today I give a shout out to the state of South Carolina. I'm wearing a Clemson shirt in South Carolina. Next time it could be your state. Reminding you, our young men and women of great American values, of great faith and values. They need your encouragement. They need your prayers. And I'll love to close by saying, and this program is a great time to say this again, that I firmly believe the strength of America, it is our faith, it is our values. And American faith and values coupled with our worship makes us so powerful, so strong. If you see the pictures of the churches during and after World War II, the churches and synagogues were packed. And finally, I ask you to please never forget that in a place called the United States of America, in God we still trust. Right here in America, in God we still trust. Thank you and blessing.